Alrighty, I think we can get this started. Hello, and welcome. Looks like we got some new people here. Gonna go through our usual little disclaimer. This is mostly an open Q&A style meetings. If you guys have any questions about what me and my team do, feel free. But there are certain topics that we cannot discuss, such as any appeals for warnings, suspensions, terminations, any information or outcome of any open or past abuse reports, that kind of thing. So there's going to be some stuff that we can't quite give you any information or answer on due to the nature of what they might be, but we'll do our best. And here is the user group page for anybody who's curious. And if anybody wants to know about other user groups that we hold for the other teams, there is that too. Also, if you do not feel comfortable chatting in voice, you don't have to. It's totally optional, so if you want to type your questions, have at it. What is your random question? Nice try. It would probably work if you didn't ask that like every other meeting. But yeah. No worries. What was your question, Willow? All right, what's your question about the Kindle bot policy? So usually with the bot policy, most times when we do get an action, it's usually for traffic bots. Those are the most common we end up seeing. Sometimes we'll see people who use stuff for advertisement. As long as it's not being extremely spammy, we usually don't get too involved. We always tell people, when in doubt, just set yourself as a scripted agent if you're using a bot, that kind of thing. But as long as the bots aren't being problematic or using the game traffic, usually we don't hear too much about them. So it looks like Twerk might have some feedback and suggestions for that.
Yeah, we opened a ticket for ours because we were concerned that we have one London chat resident. Asked for a dispensation and explain what it was about, and then they put a permanent note on our account to say that that bot is outside of the bot normal things, We did this about 3 or 4 years ago. We've had no issues.
Oh, yeah, bots used for gaming traffic. Lucia, that's the most common thing we see with bot reports, and they're so irritating. Definitely one of the more tedious things involving bots. You're welcome. Alrighty, does anybody else have any other questions? Interesting. Do these spam messages, do they happen to have any sort of unsubscribe instructions on them, or are they just being sent out from their home? As in, do you only get the message if you're in proximity to their home, or is it just you just get messages? Interesting. Yeah, if they might be swapping out objects, could be possible that we might have looked at it before. But yeah, I would say file. How recently have you filed an AR? So it could be that we haven't gotten to it yet. Alrighty, so about a month or so. If it's still happening, go ahead and file another report, just so that we are notified that it's still an ongoing thing, especially if they're moving Linden homes and they might be renaming objects. That gives us a good idea that they're still doing it and they still might be maybe in a different location or maybe they're using a different object. But yeah, if it's still happening, definitely, we always recommend if something's an ongoing issue to continue reporting as new incidents occur. So that keeps us, gives us a good idea that it's still going on. So when we do get to the report, we can dig further. And then, of course, we can see the pattern. It should be disturbance of the peace, repetitive spam. Whichever one is the spam one off the top of my head, that one should be good. Yeah, at the very least, there might be a covenant violation there, but we'll definitely take a look. No, we do not publish those numbers. Yeah, kind of blotter like that would kind of be. It could be interesting in some respects, so people can get an idea of things, but it could also just be not the best idea. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Um, and so we're not going to do that. At least that's not on the roadmap anytime soon. Alright, looks like we got about, math, 40-ish minutes left here, so if anybody else has any other questions, feel free. Well, it depends on what you mean by how do we identify a child avatar. I mean, we don't go around looking for child avatars. They exist, and it's fine, as long as they're not up to anything. If you mean how do we identify somebody as a child avatar who might be participating in age play, we're usually looking for depictions that clearly look like a child. Like, there's no guessing it's like that's a child. Or someone clearly identifying themselves as a child. You get a screenshot of someone in their chat going, hey, I'm 12. And then they start doing things they shouldn't be doing. If that answers your question.
I'm more concerned about the fact that there are clubs who kick people out who have kimono avatars just because they're skinny. Oh no, that's too childlike. It's under so many meters or something.
Oh yeah, we see that from time to time. Usually people end up reporting the people who ban them from the regions, but generally speaking, people who run their own land, their regions, they can ban anybody from their region for any reason they wish. If they think you're too short, too skinny, you're wearing flip-flops, it's a shoes-only zone, stuff like that. That's their land to enforce what they will. We don't get involved in those kind of things. So, say if someone came into a region and they thought that someone was, violating their dress code, or they think they're too small, or any kind of thing, and then they report it to us, we're not going to get involved unless there's a clear violation of the terms of service. So it's unfortunate when people do end up banned from a region because someone just interpreted their avatar as something that they didn't intend. But ultimately, that's the region owner's call on that.
Yeah, I understand that. I actually was. I'm actually an estate manager over a university consortium in about 4 or 5 other university regions, and it's been that way for 10 years, but I recently, because I teach classes on estate management and everything else, I get people who come in and sit there and go, okay, I run a club. Yeah. How do you identify a child avatar? And I'm like, well, that's the biggest gray area in Second Life. Congratulations. Here you go.
Yeah. It's a lot of people think just because a child avatar gets spotted in their club, they're going to get shut down, and that's not always the case. So people are really, really overprotective and over vigilant on that stuff, but that's totally their call if they want to do that. But if it's someone's using a child avatar for things they shouldn't be doing, we usually go after the people engaging that activity, unless we think the region itself or the club itself is trying to assist and harbor that kind of activity. But we haven't had to deal with that in quite a while. Usually it's just people being nasty and they're in the little nasty areas.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Sometimes we'll poke out the estate ban list, but that's usually if we're already investigating something that we have a hint or an idea that they might be like a return customer being a butthole somewhere. If we're like, hey, is this an alt of somebody who got banned here, and now they're upset that they got banned and just want to keep coming back. If it's something that any additional information we need, we don't always need to look at that. It could be something, it really just depends on the case. Most of the time we don't even need to, because people make it very clear who they are sometimes.
One other question. How much do you guys depend on the picture? I mean, how much importance do you put on the picture in an abuse report? If it has more information in it, is that better?
It really depends on what's reported. We've kind of gotten used to the screenshots kind of not being too useful. So a lot of the times people are like, "Here's a thing," and then we look at the screenshot and it's just of someone's profile, and we're like, "That has nothing to." A lot of times we get people to put the profile in there to be like, "Hey, this is this person who's griefing me," but it doesn't show any of the griefing. Profile pictures and a screenshot are only useful if it's something in the profile that's being reported, like someone who's got their junk out on their profile picture or something in their description that's not appropriate. But it's always great if you have a screenshot of something, that, especially if it's something that's going on in chat. If you get someone harassing you or sending stuff in chat that shouldn't be sent in chat, if you screenshot the chat box, that's great. A lot of people will copy and paste the chat into a note card, and we can't accept that because the note cards can be edited. But a screenshot of the chat box, that's always really useful. If it's griefing, we always, recommend that if you can get to the object, to get a screenshot of, the object profile, so we can see, name of the object, who owns it, that kind of stuff. And other things, like if it's an avatar who's wearing something, or somewhere they shouldn't be, or doing something they shouldn't be doing, make sure you have the what's the name? Their nameplates in the picture. So otherwise, we were like, well, this could be of anybody. That kind of stuff.
Okay, so if it shows a griefing, but they have the profile picture of the griefer up along with the object information and everything else like that, that's still good.
Yeah, it's fine. We probably wouldn't even need the profile picture up, because if you're reporting that person, it already pops up in the report. So unless there's something in the actual profile window itself, you don't need to really worry about that much. And that thing that Willow just posted is a handy-dandy little article from a class that someone on my team hosted. Has some pretty useful stuff in there.
Was that Corky?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm the one that helped her out with the class.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, we're used to it by now, Landon. We get some weird screenshots. But yeah, screenshots are always nice, especially when they have like everything we need. We always like, yes, look at the screenshot, it's amazing. But usually it's like, what is this? I don't know. So we spend time like, what am I looking at? No, but I should. Though most of them would probably just be like, look at this picture, and I'm like, there's a cow. What? Or my favorites are when people are like, they've got their bits out and are raging they shouldn't be, and they're like upskirt zoomed up their stuff. I'm like, why are you creeping? Don't do that. Well, this is technically my Monday because we had a holiday yesterday, so I haven't dug into any of the weird and wacky today, but it's mostly just uh, the usual. Yeah, we get those that Governance 18 mentioned. Or before we actually updated where, now if you're using our viewer, not sure it has on other ones, if you report something that already has like a preloaded screenshot in it, before you actually had to click a button to add a screenshot, and that was annoying. So we would get reports that be like, screenshot says all, and that's all it would say, and then there's no screenshot. We're like, cool. Yep. It says everything. There's nothing here for me to do.
Hi, Kristin. Corky told me to actually come in because I've got a really interesting situation and not quite sure how to handle it.
Alrighty, what you got?
Um, I'm the I'm one of the board of directors for Rockcliffe University Consortium. Um, we have somebody who has made a group and they have our name blasted all over it. It's not sanctioned by us. And there are a couple of people in the group that we cannot have for legal reasons and Linden lab reasons, which I can go into detail with in private with you in that group. Is there any way that we can get our name removed from a group where the group owner is no longer available?
Usually if we get involved if it's a case of like maybe impersonation or kind of harassment, so I would really have to depend, but if you haven't filed a report, or we can discuss this privately later on, I can kind of help guide you on how to approach that and see if there's anything we can do with that.
Great. I would love to set up an appointment to talk with you later on because there's too many little nuances to put in an abuse report, and I'm really kind of you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, sometimes
Okay.
things are a little tricky, but yeah, I
Yeah.
can chat with you further and see if how you can best report it and go about that stuff. Get a little bit more information.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Alright, got about 25-ish math minutes left, so if anybody else has anything else, now's the time. No? Is that it? That's it. We can call it early. Cool, cool. Well, unless anybody has anything else, I guess we'll wrap it for today. Thank you guys again for coming on by. We'll be updating. Keep an eye out on that wiki page I linked earlier. If I remember, and or the thing doesn't eat my edits, any kind of updates on when our next meeting will be, or any exceptions, will be up there. All that fun stuff. And as always, if anybody has any pressing matters or any questions that can't really wait until the next one, feel free to ping me anytime. If I'm available, I'll get back to you as soon as I can.